We disagree with them, but they have a right to have their point of view. We disagree with those who believe that this documentary, which in our view gives free publicity to a rapist by allowing him an opportunity to describe in detail how he carried out the act of rape and then try and explain it with some warped logic that we're actually trying to expose the rapist, doesn't make sense. But those who believe in it have a right to have that point of view. Includes Malvika Rajkotia, senior advocate, human rights activist. Includes Sanjay Hegde of the Supreme Court. Includes Anindita Sarbadhikari, she's a filmmaker from Kolkata. And on the other side tonight, those who have problems with this perspective tonight, with the whole idea of putting this kind of a pervert's view on air, include Shobha Oza, Meenakshi Lekhi of the Congress and the BJP, and Nina Pillai, who's a columnist. Thank you very much. Okay, so first let's settle this matter. There are 8 points of debate. Malvika Rajkotia, if I can have your attention, 2 issues of debate. Who gave permission to this documentary for the interview of the rapist to happen? And then the morals of the whole issue. Shobha Oza, you know what happened today. Shinde and his henchman, a guy called Mohan Babu, an out-of-work actor, I think, they tried to beat up my reporter when he asked the question that did you give permission to the, to this documentary filmmaker to make this film on, to feature the rapist in some kind of an exclusive interview. Now, why don't you just begin with a confession? Because I have these letters. His letters prove that in 4 or 5 days, the permission was given by the Congress government. First, let's end this suspense.
Arnab,
no, one second.
Arnab.
Permission was given in 4 or 5 days. Obviously, someone very powerful, someone very important, someone very connected, and also, if I may ask, someone with a special interest in this documentary. I am not making any suggestion that the person who gave the permission, right, has an interest in any particular, the documentary filmmakers' efforts to put the rapist interview, but clearly someone very powerful was clearing this request which came in from the documentary filmmaker. Now, you're obviously lying, Shobha Oza, when you say we didn't give permission. Maybe you want to correct yourself.
I have not yet opened my mouth.
No, I know, but you have... Okay, fine. Please go.
No, let me put
you
my
gave
point
permission, right?
forward.
You gave the permission.
Arnab, without the permission, do you think anyone can be interviewed in the jail?
No, that's what. So, yeah.
The point which has to be taken care of is the nature of the permission.
Really?
As to why the permission was given. Was it given for a research? Was it given for a documentary? Was it given for what reason?
Research? Sorry, a documentary filmmaker. I'm sorry, one second. Now I'll get Meenakshi Lekhi on this. I have facts at my disposal are the following, and Meenakshi can rebut this. A documentary filmmaker representing a film company called Assassin Films or something to that extent. Clearly, they have assassinated all ethics and morality of this profession. The documentary filmmaker goes in and seeks a request to interview the rapist of Nirbhaya. You think there's some research going on? Meenakshi Lekhi, you buy this argument? The Congress begins the Newshour debate by saying we were helping in some academic research on the subject. Meenakshi Lekhi, please, you buy that?
You see, I am not expressing myself on this point because this is under a probe and is being investigated. I'll wait for the investigating officer's report, because quite clearly a particular permission was given, and in terms of the permission they were supposed to submit an unedited version. They have chosen not to. A social research turned out to be a commercial activity, and a telecast firm supposed to obey the mandate of the law is trying to distance itself from the terms of the contract itself and make a commercial capital out of a nuanced debate on what goes on inside the mind of a rapist. And rapist, whether in India or in London or in New York or Paris, has the same mindset, according to me.
Okay, let's open up the rest of the debate. Malvika Rajkotia, I'm asking you first, and by the way, to all the panelists tonight, this is an open debate. So from here on, feel free to come in. My simple question is to Malvika Rajkotia. She's not just an advocate. Malvika Rajkotia, you're also a very well-known human rights activist. So I want to ask you a few questions from the prism of human rights on this subject. Ms. Rajkotia, are you doing justice to the human rights of a 10-year-old child when her rapist is describing his actions and referring to her as a beggar whose life means nothing?
No, sorry. Are you saying that, see, there are two things. One is that if the rapist, there are books or psychological studies on the mind, and as Meenakshi quite rightly says, if I have any objection at all to the documentary, it's only this, that it's called India's Daughters, and basically denigrates India as being the only country which have men of the sort that the rapist projects himself to be. And sadly, there are many of those. But having said which, that's not true just in India, it's true the world over.
But my question was different. My question was from the prism of human rights, which is your area of expertise, something that you passionately believe in. Ms. Rajkotia, I repeat to you the question in another context.
No,
and are you doing justice? I would ask.
Freedom of speech and expression.
Okay, freedom of speech and expression, agreed. But my question from the point of view of human rights is,
I want to come in.
No, 1 second. Who wants to come in? Who wants to come in on the subject? Nina Pillai, I think. But 1 second. Let me complete.
I want to come in. Arnab, yeah.
Okay, Nina Pillai wants to come in. Go ahead, Nina Pillai. Yeah.
Arnab, I'm just saying that Ms. Udwin gave an interview to the Washington Post, and she said the rapist seemed like an ordinary man. What does that mean? Does she recognize serial killers and rapists with some tattoo on their heads? She says he looked like an ordinary man. He was not a monster. He was just he was not a rotten apple in a basket. What does she mean? How could she deduce that? She's saying he's symptomatic of a disease that is prevalent in India. That means all men in India are rapists?
No, it's
this is an interview she gave to the Washington Post. So what I'm saying is I'm dead against this documentary being released.
You may castigate this interview.
This is not to do with freedom of speech.
No.
This is not to do with freedom of speech. But you cannot allow a foreign news channel to freely publicize and make money out of the distress of a woman and her family in India.
Yes. And we'll go to the issue of media ethics in a bit. Because on the issue of media ethics...
but this is a very skewed perspective.
May I ask you a question, Ms. Rajkotia?
This is a dangerous precedent to have these kind of perspectives.
No, 1 second. Ms. Rajkotia...
You know, people will feel just as strongly about something else which they might,
Ms. Malvika Rajkotia, I ask you my second question tonight. Ms. Rajkotia, as one of India's very prominent human rights activists and lawyers, my second question to you is...
You don't have to keep saying that. I mean...
No, because my questions to you are from the prism of your own subject of expertise and something you passionately believe in human rights.
Just a minute. The prism of my subject is in fact, you as a reporter should not be dropping the parameters of what you're about, which is, you might dislike, as Voltaire said, I hate what you say, but I will fight unto death your right to say it.
Agreed. And that's what I began by saying in another case without quoting Voltaire on the subject.
And that should be your prism as well.
Yes, which is what I said.
That should be your prism
which is what I said, but it is necessary. It is necessary that in this debate, I pit my logic against yours, so we get an opportunity here to have an open debate. Now, my second question, Ms. Rajkotia, is to you. Are you doing justice, in your view, to the human rights of Nirbhaya, to Nirbhaya's privacy, to Nirbhaya's right to dignity? When this man, Mukesh Singh, 1 second, just 10 more seconds, graphically describes in the most perverse, remorseless and brutal fashion the graphic details of how Nirbhaya was raped.
Right. Now, I do want to tell you that as far as I know this interview, I haven't seen it. Have you seen the documentary?
I've read every, it's all in the public domain, what is there in the interview. Details have been given out by the documentary filmmaker herself. Yes, please. We are more than aware. We're not shooting in the dark.
I have read whatever. There is the detail. The detail that I have read is where he says women go out at 9 o'clock at night.
No. There is much more. I am embarrassed to repeat it. The channel concerned was putting it out.
That's a question of...
I am embarrassed to repeat it.
Yes.
Okay.
I am embarrassed to repeat.
So it will be a shockingly bad, crude, vulgar, obscene, perverse documentary. It will be all those things.
No, sorry. My question is not. No, 1 second.
We cannot.
There's no excuse.
We cannot step
there is no excuse.
And decide that it should not exist.
No, 1 second. There is no. You see, the question here is.
Today it is this. I want to say,
Ms. Rajkotia,
even the reaction of an extreme Hindu right wing to Hussein's paintings was as moralistic.
No, 1 second. 1 minute. You know, I'll tell you here.
So we are talking.
No, 1 second.
This argument.
Ms. Rajkotia, for example, I'd say this to you.
And I would much rather have a broader view than a narrower one.
No, we need to have a very narrow view on this subject also, because we need to be specific. I now would like to invite Meenakshi Lekhi back into the debate. And as I said, to Anindita Sarbadhikari, Shobha Oza, as well as Sanjay Hegde, it's an open debate, please. Meenakshi, would you like to come in? I asked 2 specific questions on the human rights of the victims. I personally find it unacceptable, obnoxious, and something which should be condemned all over when a rapist is given an opportunity to describe how he carried out an act of rape on a 10-year-old child. Who lives, by the way? Who lives? Who is not dead?
You see,
so you will allow that child.
Yes,
what if that child tomorrow sees the documentary?
So the
what if the child tomorrow? What is the child tomorrow? Yeah, 1 second. What if the child tomorrow, Anindita, sees the documentary and sees the rapist justifying the act of rape on her, saying she doesn't deserve anything, she's poor, her life doesn't matter? What if the child sees the documentary, or a relative of the child sees the documentary? Tell me what will go on in their mind.
So Arnab,
or somebody gets motivated to engage in similar acts.
What? What are you saying, Anindita?
Arnab, I also want to come in.
No, 1 second. What are you saying, Anindita?
Your show is the first time, this debate has been going on the net and everything.
Sure.
And I was talking to about 25,000 moms like yesterday on Facebook. Right. And everybody was disgusted at the rapist. You are the first voice I'm hearing who's disgusted at the filmmaker.
No, 1 second.
I mean,
you're a filmmaker. You're a filmmaker. Okay, Meenakshi Lekhi is coming into the debate.
I'm a filmmaker.
1 minute. No, 1 second. Anindita, 1 second. Anindita, open your mind tonight and be a little empathetic. Anindita, 1 second. Anindita, 1 second. Meenakshi is coming in.
It's wrong.
Anindita, there is right and wrong. Don't have grey areas on this subject.
It is completely wrong.
Anindita,
Anindita, Meenakshi Lekhi is countering you.
Excuse me, allow me to complete my sentence.
Which politicians?
It's not a political subject, it's a human subject.
You are only talking about the rapist.
No. Exactly.
You're only talking about the rapist. My point is, let's talk about the accused. And accused no matter where in the world. Excuse me, give up on Mohan Bhagwat, start getting after Britishers. What rape victim? What has Mohan Bhagwat said? Do you even know Mohan Bhagwat? Or do you even read Mohan Bhagwat? Restrict yourself to the debate.
Don't digress. Stay focused on this. Stay focused. Anindita, do not.
No, you can't do this. This
Anindita,
kind of pseudos.
1 second, I'm coming in.
This kind of pseudos
okay,
need to be reprimanded by law.
Meenakshi Lekhi, 1 minute, please.
Nobody.
Are you going to make a law? Are you going to make a law against pseudos?
Not even Arnab.
See, my point is very simple. Entire parliament.
Let her speak.
I wish I could, but I can't.
Let her speak.
The law of the social society also.
No heckling. Let her speak.
My point is very simple. My point is, when Nirbhaya happened, the parliament, the society, the police, and the judiciary acted completely within the premise and acted with all alacrity. The quest by others to find fault within the system must set at rest, number 1. Number 2, there are no 2 sides to the story in this case. There is only one side.
Exactly.
The victim was the woman who was raped and murdered.
Yes.
And this should also end there, and we don't know the content of the entire documentary. The terms of the agreement were that unedited version will be submitted to Government of India. It was meant for social cause. It has been made commercial. Can you show anything in breach of that contract? Exactly my point. When you don't know the content, what are you defending? Does government not have a right to ask for the content?
If it is a breach of contract, you ask for damages. You cannot have prior restraint.
Not just ask for damages. I will ask for damages is one thing, but damage to the reputation of this country has already happened.
Since Otto Shankar. This is the law laid down by the Supreme Court.
1 second, Sanjay Hegde. Sanjay Hegde.
I am protecting the women of this country, and because I am protecting the women of this country, a law unanimously was changed by the Parliament of this country.
Can I please?
A woman is
Can I please, Anindita, don't go on and on and on. Once point is understood, I have a question for you. Anindita Sarbadhikari, show patience.
I haven't finished.
Show patience and please listen to the other side.
I have a question to the three opponents.
Here is a basic question for Anindita Sarbadhikari.
I have a question to three opponents, and I'm asking a question point blank.
Okay, the question will be answered by Sanjay Hegde.
Do you know equally abhorrible in rape cases where girls were murdered and rape brutally happened in New York, happened in London and happened in other places? Do you know of those cases?
And do you know that the film,
much more than you,
at the end,
Meenakshi, the point is, how do you tell the story of a rape without the rapist?
Okay, wonderful. So here's a question. 1 minute, please. By the way, Sanjay Hegde and Anindita Sarbadhikari, I request you, Anindita, please be patient. Please be patient and listen. There are a few very basic questions I have, and if you're only going to listen, if you're going to only listen, if you just listen a bit, it will open up your mind and you understand why I'm asking you a very fundamental question. You are a filmmaker. Listen to me, please. First of all, I reject this view that you have to run with a mic to get an exclusive interview with a rapist to do a film on rape. What you are doing is basically, you are trying to use the rapist's interview to titillate the audience, to grab eyeballs and say this is the USP of my film, which is simply, and by the way, don't teach me, the Miss Anindita, do not teach me about ethics. What you should be asking tonight, Sanjay Hegde, a minute please. Sanjay Hegde, a minute please. Relax. Relax. You see, there are a lot of people today, who are talking about democracy and free speech. The BBC, which has decided to air this documentary on Thursday, right, should remember its own editorial guidelines vis-a-vis interviewing prisoners. A standard, it seems, is not being followed vis-a-vis India. 8.416, 8.418, 8.425, 8.429, whole section on editorial values. You know what it says out there? 1.2.5, we will be sensitive to and keep in touch with generally accepted standards as well as our audience's expectations of our content, particularly in relation to the protection of children. Now, given that context that you have to be sensitive to your audiences, there's an Indian audience, okay, which is going to see this interview, and how can you then allow a rapist to talk about how he raped a 10-year-old girl, and that can be put out? You don't care about what will happen to the girl or family or how she will feel when the rapist says in the interview, as graphically described by this person who calls herself a documentary filmmaker, which is a shame by itself, and you allow that to be aired. Now my question, very simply put, is this: Miss Anindita is a filmmaker. Listen to the question, don't show intolerance. The question is, would you, Miss Anindita?
No, I'm not showing
Would you, Miss Anindita, listen to the question, and then the answer, your answer will reflect your views. Would you make a movie, ever, where a pedophile describes in graphic detail how he assaulted a child?
If I'm talking about making a film about child abuse,
you'll interview the pedophile.
I will definitely have a pedophile, but yes,
definitely have a pedophile. Okay, yes, fine, great. This is the and you'll allow the pedophile. No, one more question. No. You didn't answer my full question.
No, that's a problem.
Anindita, don't go on the defensive. I heard you. My second question to you is: will you allow the pedophile in that interview to? Mike, you didn't answer my exact question. Answer the question directly. Answer the specific question. Answer the specific question. And if you feel the question corners you, say, Arnab, I've been cornered. My question is, will you allow a pedophile to describe in graphic detail how he or she sexually assaults a child? You tell me, I will allow a pedophile. Will you allow a pedophile to describe in graphic detail how he or she sexually assaults a child? You answer my question. Answer my question. Answer my question now. Answer my question. Will you allow that to happen? Will you allow that to happen? Will you make such a film?
If you take a
Answer the question. Will you allow a rapist to describe in detail the brutality inflicted on his victim and show it? Will you list it? Will you?
Filmmaker, I will edit.
Okay, so will you now? If I tell you that by allowing it, if I tell you that by allowing it, you allow a rapist to derive pleasure. You allow the rapist to derive pleasure by describing his actions. Give him an audience. Justify himself. Defame the victim. Don't be blind. Meenakshi Lekhi is coming back to the debate. We know the morals are weak here.
Defy the terms.
Nina Pillai.
Arnab,
don't tell me about showing a mirror. Don't tell me about showing a mirror.
The story of the victim. And you can't defy
Nina
the
Pillai is
law.
coming back to the debate.
You can't defy the law. You can't defy the terms. Anybody who's responsible cannot defy the law of the land and show defiance towards the government of India. No one can do that.
Nina Pillai also into the debate, please.
I'm sorry, I will
Nina
not
Pillai into the debate. Nina Pillai.
Arnab, could I?
Nina Pillai. Nina Pillai. Nina Pillai.
Arnab, what I want to say is very simple. Our courts have found Mr. Singh culpable. He is a rapist. And here he proceeds to say he's innocent. He was not part of the rape. We have an established principle of law where the courts of our land, which is our jurisdiction as per our democracy, have decided he is culpable. And he is on death row. And yet he proclaims innocence in this documentary. What is that? That is a conflict.
Yes, Malvika Rajkotia countering you, Nina Pillai. Malvika Rajkotia.
And it is a
Malvika
Rajkotia.
It's a conflict of law. With my system.
Malvika Rajkotia, please.
About this.
Are we level?
He's not claiming innocence. He's in fact justifying it. It's perverse.
Yes.
Of course it's horrible. The film will be horrible. It will be unwatchable.
No.
But I'm on a different. One is the right of the filmmaker, which the other filmmaker has just said. And Arnab, you said,
but he goes on.
In the world over, do you know of such cases? No. I want to say Truman Capote in mid-20th century interviewed 2 convicts on death row, which is what made him the best-selling In Cold Blood.
No, I am asking you a simple question. Malvika Rajkotia. Malvika Rajkotia, my question to you was different, which you did not answer. I am repeating my question to you. I am repeating my question to you. I am repeating my question to you. No, Miss Rajkotia, I am repeating my question to you. I am repeating my question to you. My question is this. My question is this because you see one thing. If you want to say this is my artistic freedom which lies upon the carcass of morality and ethics, I reject it. My question is, are you doing justice to the human rights of Nirbhaya?
I don't think it's
when you list out her injuries, her injuries, both internal and external, in graphic detail, describe it by the rapist. The rapist describes in the most horrific and brutal terms. And I don't know what pleasure the documentary filmmaker gets out of getting a rapist to describe the brutality and extent of the rape, of the act of rape described in detail. And one second, Ms. Rajkotia. Are you doing justice not just to Nirbhaya but to all victims of rape when they are forced to relive their horrific experience through the accounts of a sick man called Mukesh Singh?
Exactly.
The fact of the matter
is about human rights of people.
Men in India like
presuming and have decided.
It's abominable.
And already have decided what it's going to be about.
Against it.
You don't know there may be edits. You have no idea.
No.
I have heard. I haven't seen it. I have heard. No, I'll tell you. No, one sec.
I knew you would ask this question. It should not see the light of day.
Heard is hit by
No, ma'am. Please.
It should not see the light of day.
Please. My second.
What is heard?
What do you mean heard?
Why did the filmmaker fly out of the country tonight?
Should I not believe what the filmmaker is saying about her own film? She has described the film. She says what is in the film. She says in the film.
And why was the unedited version not submitted to Government of India?
One second. You know what she says? One minute. She talks about. She spends 30 hours interviewing rapists. This is her whole USP. Here, USP. This is how she's selling the film. I have spent 30 hours, she says, interviewing rapists, including a 34-year-old man.
Publicity hungry.
A 34-year-old man serving 10 years for raping a 5-year-old. 1 second, Malvika Rajkotia. And she goes on to say that this 34-year-old rapist, allow me, this is too much. This 34-year-old rapist tells me in minute detail how he raped a 5-year-old child. You want a rapist to describe in minute detail how he rapes a 5-year-old child? No, 1 second. Now, whatever you include, you go and talk about it.
Shocking.
And this lady, I'm sorry, Malvika. I'm sorry, Malvika. I told Miss Malvika Rajkotia. No, Miss Malvika Rajkotia. She talks about the reaction of the rape victim.
Wrong.
The reaction of a 5-year-old rape victim during the act of rape. A reaction, the physical and animal. No, 1 second. Reaction of the rape victim during the act of rape. You are telling me this is journalism. This is not journalism. This is sadism. This is voyeurism.
It's all of those things.
This is painful. This is unethical. This is immoral.
No, voyeurism.
Why did
this breaks all rules of this profession?
Why did Miss Udwin
and shatters our faith?
Why did she leave the country tonight?
Nina Pillai, back to the debate.
Why did she leave?
Nina Pillai, back to the debate.
I'm sorry, why did she leave the country tonight? I'm saying, why did she leave the country tonight if she...
Why did she not go
and
to
who are you? You are just an activist.
Meenakshi Lekhi is coming back. Meenakshi Lekhi.
I happen to be part of the government.
Why did she leave the country tonight?
Meenakshi Lekhi.
By thinking that they have
You see, I as a responsible member of parliament and a representative of the society and people at large have every business to obey the sense of the house. And the parliament today stood against this kind of denigration of India and said that this kind of depiction of India is incorrect and against the law itself under which the contract was signed. Similar cases exist in UK itself. And had she even interviewed those people and corrected their own order or disorder in the house, she need not have travelled to New Delhi. She could have finished this work in London itself. According to me, a paedophile, no matter where he is, has the same mindset. A rapist, no matter where he is, even from societies which are less religious and less prude, has the same mindset, and there she should have done that. So now putting everyone in India, all men, like he looked like an ordinary man, as if all ordinary men are rapists. I mean, that is not correct. All ordinary men are pedophiles. That is not true. The rate of rape, etc. in this country is one of not as bad as Ireland, Norway and several other places.
No, 1 second. Yes, no,
An identical case to Nirbhaya have happened across the world. Nobody knows because they don't choose to make documentaries on them. And I would request Arnab to seek permission to interview one such person in London jail.
Malvika Rajkotia, before you come in, I just want to make a very small intervention here. The BBC had at one point of time dropped plans at the last minute to air a documentary about Prince Charles and Princess Diana because there was an intervention of lawyers representing the royal family. Look at the hypocrisy there. You will immediately pull back documentaries where lawyers of the royal family say, no, you can't do it. Now, you will put out documentaries which describe in horrific detail acts
No, this is defiance of Indian law.
This is, this is just double standards. This is standard colonial hypocrisy. And my second point is...
Now can I come in?
Yeah, sure. I have another point, but you can come in, Malvika.
No, finish your point, but then I do want to
my simple second point was, Ms. Rajkotia, and I'm pitting my view against yours only for me to hear your view tonight. My view tonight on this subject is this, and this is something for Anindita also, visual depictions of rape in a graphic manner are disallowed in movies and films around the world, including the United Kingdom, I don't understand how a rapist's remorseless and graphic account of how he raped an individual, Nirbhaya, a child, should not be disallowed by the same standards. This account is no less disturbing, no less horrific than a visual depiction of rape. I don't understand. This is, you know, those people who are trying to put out an argument that...
This is worse than that.
Yeah, it's worse than that. Yes, Malvika.
Good. Look, now may I come in?
Yes, please.
No, you priest, you're not letting me speak.
No, I'll come to you, Malvika. I'm only pitting my logic against yours, hoping to hear yours.
Laws itself.
Yeah. Yes, Malvika.
Can I? Yeah. So now, Meenakshi talks about violation of laws.
Sure.
I don't have any issue with that.
Yeah.
But once the permission was given, there's a set of consequences.
No,
what as law enforcers you want to do, whether it's illegal, etc., I have no comment. If it's illegal, of course it's illegal. I'm hardly going to support it. Once it is done, and there is a set of consequences, and there is a documentary.
No, sorry.
We have an idea, and we know that the documentary is going to be horribly perverted.
No.
So there is a sense of outrage. I understand that. Then comes the second question of censors, edits, what's in place, what it will be. Now, I understand what Meenakshi says is that we want, if the contract says that an unedited version needed to be seen and they've chosen not to do that, that's breach of another law. I have no problem. Of course, we must insist.
No, now we are going into procedural aspects. Why don't you argue on the morals of it? I am arguing on the morals of it.
And protectionist about their royal family. It's ridiculous.
Yes.
I agree with that.
No, but what about their standards?
Now,
because I don't think today in the United Kingdom.
I agree.
No, my point is I don't think in the United Kingdom today. I'm sorry, Malvika, but in the United Kingdom today, by their own internal rules.
You're not even letting me speak.
No, Miss Rajkotia, the simple point I'm making to counter yours is that in the UK today, you would not be able to air a documentary where a rapist describes an act of rape on a 5-year-old child. You'd not be able to do that.
Right, so I'm coming there.
The people of that country would stand up and question, even activists would.
No, now you know there's a lot of conjecture in what. Firstly, there's a lot of conjecture in the premise of the debate because we haven't seen the film.
On conjectures.
No, this is a perfect description of what the filmmaker has said herself.
This thing about what Meenakshi says, rapists are the same the world over. She could well have interviewed some rapists in any other part of the world. I agree with that as well. But what I have difficulty with is creating this big smoke and hullabaloo about what we think, what we fear, when it hasn't happened.
One second. It's not a question, first of all. Miss Rajkotia. Miss Rajkotia, 1 minute. First of all, you are constantly repeating one fact that you don't know anything. That's not true. Everything that we are putting out is based upon quotes of the Israeli-born filmmaker called Udwin, where she describes what is in the film with a great amount of delight as part of the pre-release publicity for this film. So this is not my conjecture. This is quotes of the filmmaker. These are what she has said is there, and I don't think this can be denied. An argument is being made that we are all doing it to put things in a certain social context. That's it. But what people are angry about is the fact that you are defaming victims, you are describing victims' horror, you are reliving the trauma, you are making it worse, and you are also going into a level of graphic detail which would not have been allowed in any other country. Now, pardon me?
Are victims going to be named in it?
Miss Rajkotia, if you are not aware of the fact
because
that...
then obviously it's against the law.
I'm really sorry, but when you are putting... Why would you not... Obviously, but if there is a... one second. Miss Rajkotia, here is a quote, okay? I'll read out a quote. She says that I asked him, how could you do so terrible that you could ruin a child's life? He said, the rapist says, she's a beggar girl. Her life has no value. The filmmaker goes on to say, she found the girl who is now 10-year-old. So the 5-year-old victim of rape is now 10-year-old, right? And says she's doing okay. Now if that 10-year-old girl watches that film and sees her rapist, 1 minute, no, I'm going into detail, sees her rapist, describing how he raped her, how she's remorseless, and how her life had no value. I don't understand. I just don't understand, Anindita, what journalism is this? What is this journalism?
My name, so let me please speak for 1 minute.
No, that's all right. It's just mixed. Morally corrupt.
You're seeing the remorselessness of the guy as horrific. I'm seeing the remorselessness of the guy is horrific. But when I see the remorselessness of the guy is horrific, I also see this is why this kind of rape continues.
Oh God,
the mindset does not change.
You are putting on air the views of a convicted rapist who has no remorse for what he did. You are allowing him to gain vicarious pleasure by putting his views out in the public domain.
Which is coming from Uranus. It is not the main factor.
Okay, 1 second, please. I think Shobha Oza also wants to come into the debate. Shobha Oza, if you want to contribute on the debate, Shobha Oza, feel free to come in. There are views on the other side. Nina Pillai is coming back to the debate. Shobha Oza, please. Shobha Oza.
I want to put, I just want to ask Anindita what we could hear yesterday, gathered from Leslie's interview was that she at one point says that this culprit, Mukesh, says that he would have spared Nirbhaya if she would have not objected to the rape.
Yes.
Now tell me, when Leslie says that we want to air the mindset of the rapist, didn't we see the mindset of the rapist when he committed the crime? What good is it going to do to the society by portraying him, by glorifying him, by showing him again and again the dirty, the remorseless mindset of this victim who's been death sentenced? Despite that fact, he is not shamed. He is not a pinpoint of remorse in what he expresses as to what are we going to show the society and what difference does it make to the society to see or go through the entire rape once again?
Have you heard what Asaram
Anindita
said after Nirbhaya's rape? Did you all hear what Asaram Bapu said after the rape? He was not the rapist. No, but he was a God man.
We are diverting.
This is the mindset.
No, but mindset, don't we know the rapist mindset? Don't we know the rapist mindset, dirty mindset, forward mindset?
Okay, 1 second. Nina Pillai would like to come back, I think. Yes, Nina Pillai into the debate and then Sanjay Hegde.
One comment?
Yes, okay, Nina Pillai, a quick comment from you and then I would like to pick a point with Sanjay Hegde. Nina Pillai, please.
Yeah, quick.
You see, my point would be, that if
Arnab, I take umbrage
make any
to
other
the
comment, I would have been shocked. The fact these people behave in this manner, they deserve the death penalty, which the parliament has amended the law. And in life-altering circumstances, such people should be given death penalty. That is the law of the land. And today, all I'm saying is my systems work, they catch the right people, they punish the right people. Parliament chooses to confront these issues and passes the correct law. So please stop finding faults, and this quest should end by these people. If they have to find and do such studies, kindly concentrate on their own countries.
Now today,
and they will find similar cases in those countries as well.
You see, yes, okay, Nina Pillai. Yes, Nina Pillai.
Country.
1 second.
You know, when you talk about
I think this has. I think this has generated a tremendous. I think this has.
Meenakshi's objection seems to be not to the rape, but to the fact that an English woman is
Sanjay, I'm coming to you in a minute. Let Nina Pillai make a point.
Yes. And because I had objection, I was working towards changing the law. Kindly don't speak this language.
I just say that I think
that's exactly the point, Meenakshi. You people think that you can ban anything and everything.
I take umbrage.
I don't know who's speaking.
That's not how the law works.
Arnab, could I please speak?
And robustness of his own society.
Arnab,
self-flagellation is not something I believe in.
The point is you can't have prior restraint
and making them more sensitive towards Indian women. Unlike you.
Listen.
It is not about free speech. We have done enough of free speech at India Gate. And our society has withstood that
brunt. I am talking to you as a lawyer and as a lawmaker. I am
also answering you as a lawyer.
I am talking to you as a lawyer and a lawmaker.
As a lawyer and a lawmaker, I was very active in bringing this change.
The law, till you change it,
and the law is in these life-altering situations, death penalty has to be given.
1 second, Sanjay Hegde.
The law is that you cannot have prior restraint.
1 second, Sanjay Hegde. Sanjay Hegde, understand the perspective.
You cannot telecast something on which you agreed to show me before.
Please, can
that
I please?
That is also the law.
Then you go to court and you
between both of you, Sanjay Hegde, hear a point. Hear a perspective now.
That's why I went to court and got a restraint order.
1 second, Sanjay Hegde, please hear the proper perspective.
Arnab.
One of the myths, 1 minute, Sanjay Hegde, please stop. One of the myths being perpetrated is
Arnab.
we Indians, 1 minute please, 1 minute Nina Pillai, 1 minute. I want to set one thing right here. There are some people who are putting together a shallow argument that we are a bunch of people who have such a deep sense of shame that we can't see the reality that these foreign documentary filmmakers put to us. I have frankly, and this is also there. Listen, please, Sanjay. Sanjay, listen.
I think
I have 1 minute, please. Let me please counter this once and for all.
Speaking.
I have not seen, frankly, a more shallow argument than that one, because that is so just skimming the surface of the issue. The fact is, India does not need to conceal this documentary to run away from the truth that there is misogyny in our country. You know, these activists are putting that argument. That is a tragic reality. And we know it. It manifests itself in every instance of rape and sexual harassment that happens in this country. 1 second. What we are opposed to and have the patience to listen is the idea, the perverse idea of allowing a convicted rapist to broadcast his even more perverse views and graphically explain how he violated Nirbhaya or a 5 or 10-year-old child. It is the graphical nature of the rapist descriptions of these crimes being used by the documentary filmmaker to get some eyeballs as part of a pre-release promotion for the film, and the pleasure these rapists derive out of justify their exploits that needs to be challenged here. That is the point.
Giving me the floor?
The whole argument is wrong, Sanjay. And you got it all wrong, Sanjay.
Okay, now
you got it all wrong, Sanjay.
Listen to me.
You got it all wrong.
The Supreme Court dealt with a case.
Okay, Sanjay, one at a time. Okay, I can take out 3. Okay,
in
Sanjay.
In Phulan Devi's case, the bandit queen, you remember the rape scene, you remember the absolute nudity, the crudity and everything that was shown on the screen for commercial purposes, and that was upheld by the Supreme Court.
I'm so sorry. Mr. Hegde, Mr. Hegde, 1 second. This is the point to which it goes. This is the point to which it goes. 1 minute. Mr. Hegde, 1 minute. Mr. Hegde, I'm sorry, but you have quoted Mukesh Singh in your blog. I'm now going to hold you to account. I'm going to hold you to account, Sanjay Hegde, okay? You have quoted Mukesh Singh in your blog, his comment on, quote, you can't clap with one hand. So, Mr. Hegde, you haven't quoted what else he has said. And that is, by the way, for your kind information, how he describes how he and his companions raped Nirbhaya. It is not just Mukesh Singh's justification of rape. That is the question here. So, you got it wrong a second time. What is his being allowed to describe the ordeal he inflicted on Nirbhaya in the most terrifying detail? You don't understand. You people have not understood the depth of the argument. You not understood the depth of the argument here. And 1 second, Mr. Hegde, I will not repeat that sick man's words on air. But what he has said is no short of a visual depiction of rape, and that is utterly unacceptable. No, don't give me. And Mr. Hegde, I have not completed with you. Mr. Hegde, it doesn't stop there. Let me now contradict you completely. It doesn't stop there. The interviewer in the documentary, and this is as per a report in the Guardian, hear the reality. The interviewer in the documentary, and this is as per a Guardian report, even lists out the details of the internal and external injuries inflicted on Nirbhaya by the rapist to Mukesh Singh to see if he shows any remorse. Why should the interviewer why should the interviewer be reading out the graphic descriptions of the injuries suffered by the rape victim to a rapist who had seconds ago explained his actions? It has got to be a really perverse interaction.
Arnab,
I don't understand it. And Mr. Hegde, by the way, I haven't completed. Mr. Hegde, please hear the facts. Come on.
Arnab, these are injuries which are detailed in the
High Court
the trial court.
By the way, Mr. Hegde, there is a huge difference between the court speaking about his crimes when pronouncing him guilty and sentencing him to death, and that of a rapist gloating with a capital G, gloating about what he did to Nirbhaya, or another pedophile gloating about what he did to a 5-year-old child. Don't teach me journalism, sir. This is not journalism. This is the perversion of journalism.
You are teaching me law.
No, Mr. Hegde, this is not a work of fiction or a Shakespearean play to have a hero or a villain for visual impact. What has happened here is a brutal reality. A reality that is known to us, a reality that should not be revisited by the rapist himself.
Can you run away from the reality by shutting your eyes?
No, I'm not. Nobody needs to. Nobody needs to. But you need to have some sense and sensibilities here, sir. Come on. Meenakshi Lekhi is coming back to the debate. I'm going to close in 4 minutes.
Your problem
we reacted to it as a society. Mr. Hegde, we reacted to the society. We all protested at India Gate. We all got the law amended. We all are waiting for these rapists to be hanged. So
you are
our society is a very vibrant society and a robust society. We don't need these people to teach us that. But when you are trying to portray India in a poor light, I am going to protest and I don't allow anyone to defy my law.
Are you not running the government? Can you not move the court?
We have moved the court, and that's how we've got the restraint order.
Why don't you move for an early hearing of the appeal? Why don't you move? Why don't you move for an early hearing of the appeal?
I'm sorry, you should have read before coming. Why didn't you read that? It's all over.
Why don't you move?
You understand.
Why don't you move for an early hearing of the appeal?
No, you understand the point. You understand the point, and I'm putting this again to Malvika Rajkotia.
I think BBC can move that. BBC should move that. Why should I move? I have a restraint order.
Okay. I'm going back to Ms. Rajkotia.
BBC will defy my court. BBC will defy the order of my court. I'll hold them for contempt. I think you should tell them that law.
I am asking a question here. I am asking a question here. 1 second, please. Just 1 minute. I am asking a question here. Let's pit logic. Let's pit logic.
We have done all that.
Yes.
We are prosecuting them also.
You have not done it.
Okay.
Please show me one early hearing application. Please show me one early hearing application. Your government has been sleeping.
Why will I do early hearing? I have a restraint order in my favor. Anybody who wants to show should go to court.
I am speaking of the appeal
Nina
of the
Pillai
rapist.
and Malvika Rajkotia, please. I think they have points to make. Nina Pillai.
Nina
Pillai and Malvika Rajkotia.
Oh yes. You don't want effective action, is it?
1 minute.
You don't want effective action.
Just a minute. Nina Pillai, Malvika Rajkotia.
No, you go for it.
Nina Pillai, Malvika Rajkotia, only on the screen.
We could get lost in this legal S. What the rapist actually says in granular detail is that in future, if anyone rapes, they should kill. Is that the lesson that we want everyone to see? Is that the message that we want the country or the world to see?
Okay, Nina Pillai, your point is taken.
The rapist saying next time, kill. Make sure you kill.
No, 1 second. The point here is this. I want Malvika to respond. Yes, Malvika.
You are underestimating your viewer. You are underestimating your viewer. You are underestimating your polity. You are underestimating your colleagues by thinking that they do not have the discernment to switch off or change channels. Or decide they don't want to watch something.
Malvika Rajkotia, can I put another point of view on you? Can I put another point of view, please? Because I hope you'll be open to the perspective we are presenting tonight. You see, the point is, as you very well understand, the very purpose of this man's death sentence, and I know there are a lot of people out there who disagree with the strong stance that we've taken on this subject. It's all right. You have your views. I'm going to pit my views against yours. You have a right to have your views. Each one of people who disagree, you have a right to have your views. I am arguing from the perspective that I believe in. And my belief is this, that the very purpose, Ms. Rajkotia, of this pervert's death sentence, the very purpose, as I said, of this man's conviction was to ensure that a man like him will never again relive what he has done or ever entertain the hope that he will ever commit such a crime. That is the purpose of law. Now, 1 second, Ms. Rajkotia, let me complete the second point.
Exactly.
This interview has allowed him to derive pleasure out of his actions by graphically describing them. The purpose of his punishment, which is why he's in jail, in the gallows was for him to be condemned for the rest of his life. This documentary and this interview where a person describes in graphic details what he did, and the person is remorseless, has provided him another platform to defame Nirbhaya and to make all kinds of subjective observations after that about Indian women. So I don't understand. Is there no other way to do it?
Can I finish now?
Please,
I want to answer this.
Yes,
I want to answer this. The purpose of the conviction, and he's on death row. What our view on death is a separate thing. But the purpose of the conviction is twofold. One is that he cannot come back into society and harm because he is likely to, right? And this is a heinous crime that has been committed. The other is a deterrent. Two things.
How does this help either deterrence or anything? How does this help deterrence? How does this help deterrence?
You have decided, you Arnab have decided.
No, I have not decided. I am asking you today. I am asking you today when you show. No, one second.
Just saying so.
No, one second. Miss
No,
Rajkotia. Will you allow? No, one second. You tell me one thing. Today, if you show an interview, asked Anindita, will you show an interview with a pedophile where he describes the graphic manner in which he's raped a child? Are you telling me by showing the interview you will stop pedophilia?
I would interview with, so would I.
One second.
I would also interview.
You would also interview.
So how you want to do it, etc.
Okay, so this may not be allowed elsewhere in the world, but in India it should be allowed.
That we are glorifying the rapist by doing the interview. And that is, forgive my saying so, but a perverse reaction on your part.
Right. Now the find is, your argument is that a ban may mean that those who want to watch this documentary will still find a way to do so. A decision has to be taken on the basis of principle.
Yeah.
And that is a convicted rapist who brutalized Nirbhaya should commonsensically not be given a platform to air his views about the crime he has committed, especially when he is remorseless and has the audacity to explain in detail what he did. I find it strange that a documentary filmmaker after that goes around, no, 1 second. The documentary filmmaker goes around like they have a trophy. Miss Rajkotia, the documentary filmmaker goes around and struts around and says, you know what? I've got rapists in my documentary. And you know the things they say? They talk about how they rape children. They talk about how they rape Nirbhaya. Come watch my documentary. I can tell you the the rapist even says, a 5-year-old girl, a victim's life had no value. So my question is again, my last question on this Newshour debate tonight is this. My last question, please. One second. I am asking you, we all know 1981 Supreme Court Prabhadat versus Union of India judgment, which upheld the right of journalists to interview convicted prisoners, but it also said it should not go against decency and morality. I am asking you, is it decent and moral to describe the acts of rape on Nirbhaya and 5-year-old children?
Arnab,
it is.
Okay, fine. If you think it is, I think it's not.
But we are
talking
about the law. We are talking about the law.
Okay.
I am talking about avoiding a dangerous
Arnab, can I make one last point?
I am wrapping up tonight. I put this question to the test out here. No, 1 second. In terms of decency, morality, principle, ethics, and basic journalistic propriety, have all norms been broken in this case? You can tell us what you think. I'm wrapping it up tonight, but I believe here, Malvika Rajkotia, while I defend your right to have your point of view, that when a rapist is allowed to become an instrument for the public relations exercise of a documentary in which he appears to have some kind of a star value, I think that is unacceptable. You can feel it's acceptable. I don't think so. You have your right to have your view. So do I. I thank you all. No, not at all. Not at all. The person who is using him as a publicity prop, the channel who promoted him, they are the ones who have done this tonight. And I know this is an uncomfortable question, but uncomfortable questions will be asked. Because when you use a rapist to promote a documentary, then it will be questioned. Thank you very much for joining me on debate number 2 on the Newshour tonight.